Hello, my name is Kian Baban, and in this video we're going to cover OOP or Object-Oriented Programming in Python by building a game. First, we gotta know that what is Object-Oriented Programming or OOP. It is a method of structuring a program by building related attributes and methods into individual objects. But why do we have to change the current method of our coding, which is a procedure programming method, to such a complicated concept? By the help of features such as inheritance, we can clarify our code as well as making them efficient. Or since classes are shareable, the code can be reused. However, data stored in our classes could be secured and safe with data abstraction, and also can be reutilized by methods or attributes with the same name from another class by polymorphism. For clarifying most of this point, we are going to analyze a pre-built class and assemble it in another file according to our needs for the final project, which is a Tic-Tac-Toe game. We should note that each class as an object has a init function which initializes methods and attributes that will be accessible or generated immediately after we call those classes. We also name this init function a constructor method in object-oriented terminology. So let's start with basic requirements for creating a Tic-Tac-Toe game. First, we need a board, an environment to show changes to our players. Then we gotta involve them and push them to communicate with our game by placing their token in a specific location of our initialized board. Beside lines 4 and 5, the rest are needed attributes for our class. For example, our code needed winner, so we have to create the storage attribute for the winner in our created object immediately after recalling it. We're also required to know whose turn is it, or store players' moves, I mean their selected places for their tokens. So before starting to code our main logic for our game, we want some methods to break down different parts of our game. First function is the clear function, which contains a condition according to operating system of our player to clear their terminal and clarify the process of game for them. Next one is setMove function, which will return a set of strings with a specific format to locate the available places on our board. And setBoard function will create our board with help of dictionaries and lists. So far, we have defined two of our main methods, which will be automatically generated when we call the Tic-Tac-Toe class. However, there is an important point: why there are two underlines before the name of each function. A double underscore prefix causes the Python interpreter to rewrite the attribute or method's name in order to avoid naming conflicts in subclasses. This is also called namemangling. The interpreter changed the name of variable in a way that makes it harder to create a collision when the class is extended later. Accordingly, we use this feature to make setMoves and setBoard private methods, so we don't have access to these methods out of the Tic-Tac-Toe class directly. The next function is validate method, which includes a list of all combinations that declare a player our winner if they place all their tokens in those specific locations. So obviously this function needs an input, which is a list of players' moves, or better to say locations that they own, and then with a condition we'll check if the current player is the winner or not. The next one is another private function that will locate players' selected locations and set their token on our board. The play function is the main function of our game, which is responsible to set connections between players and our game by private methods that declare in our class. At first, our code would display all available places on our board from the saved set of string in the moves attribute, which is the return value from double underline setMoves private method. Then, if the turn attribute is true, it is first player's turn to play, otherwise it is second player's turn. Each player will set their token and their selected location for their token locally in the play method. And after that, as long as we haven't set our move, or our move is not contained in the available moves list, we will loop over to get input from our players. First, ask for an available and properly formatted token location, and if everything was alright, remove that selected location from the available list of moves, because it is selected and shouldn't be available for future selections. And then place your token in their preferred position by the help of double underline place token, which is a private method in our class. And lastly, their choice will be inserted into each player's list of moves. Our final method, double underline str double underline, returns the string representation of the object. This method is called when print or str functions is invoked on an object. And as you can see, we're going to use it as a UI for our game. The output of this function is the title of our game, Tic-Tac-Toe. And by command \n in our string, we can break the current line and go to the next line. Then we are going to print our board in a frame by the following lines, which are adding to our output.